Hi everyone, it's Caitlin here from the Activate Sydney office. I'm just here to give you a quick update about the pre-employment health assessments that you have so kindly been doing throughout Australia. As you know, from the 1st of October, we rolled out the online pre-employment medical history form for all applicants of the pre-employment health assessment. So this form replaces the first 3 pages of the paper-based assessment form that you used to be using. And we really want every applicant to have completed this form before they complete the face-to-face assessment with yourselves. As you know, previously, the applicant completed their reported health history before you did the assessment with them. So we just want this to be exactly the same, except it's a paperless option, which is much better for us moving into the future. It's also much easier accessible. So the applicant can complete this form on their phone, perhaps prior to the assessment, or on some occasions where they haven't already completed it, they would be able to complete it on their phone at your practice. If this occurs and they do only complete the online form while they've attended your practice and you require the report that comes out afterwards, please give us a call on our number there, 1300 663 155, so that we can forward you their completed report that we'll receive on our end. But this report should usually get to you before you even see the applicant. In most instances, they will complete it in their own time before attending. So from this online form that the applicant completes, we then receive a health report, and this will then be sent to yourselves. So you're welcome to try the online form to have a look at what your specific health history may come out as in the report by following this link, which will also send you in an email. The report that you receive from us from the online assessment that the applicant has completed, it is essential that you review it. On this next page, we'll have a look at the particular sections that you may want to pay attention to as the physical assessor. So this is the first part of the report that you'll notice. It's really essential that you look at the job title, because this is going to give you an idea of how physically demanding the person's role is. So for example, this person, Fred, is a labourer, so he's going to have a much higher demand of manual handling than someone who would be working in an office-based role. Something that you want to consider when you're assessing him and his abilities. So going a little further down, you'll notice we've just got the general contact details of the applicant, but then we've got a flag which says red. So there are 3 types of flags. There is a green flag, an amber flag, and a red flag. A green flag means that there's nothing to be concerned about a particular answer from an applicant. So if an applicant has an overall flag of green, they have really not much risk for injury. They probably don't have any reported injuries or reported health conditions. So they have come up as no problem, they're green. If you have an amber flag, it's usually due to an applicant having a previous health condition or injury that they have recovered from, or perhaps a condition that they're managing quite well that no longer affects their day-to-day. That's when you'll see an amber flag. Then you have the red flag, such as the person here, and this means that there is a current medical condition that is hopefully being managed but may not be, or an injury that is also requiring current management, or perhaps means that the person is suffering symptoms still. So you do really want to pay attention to this part of the report, because it's going to give you an idea of if there's anything affecting the applicant at the current point in time when they completed the online form. Environmental considerations will give you an idea of their exercise and also their perceived capabilities when it comes to lifting load. So that's quite essential as well when you are going to be assessing their physical capability for the job role and seeing how much they can and cannot lift. It may mean that you want to use this as an indicator of where do you start with this person. So for Fred, you may want to start him at 10 kilos and then see how he goes. You may want to try and see if he can do a little more than 20 kilos if he's feeling confident at the time of the assessment. You then have further considerations. This may link into their general health, their mental health, their perceived physical health and social functioning. Please do not worry so much about this section as it's something that we will address on our end with the final report that we submit to the employer. You then have the next section of the report, which is probably the most important part for you to have a look at. So in this appendix, it has further information which has led to the person's overall flag. So for Fred, for example, you have some extra information about his high blood pressure that he's provided. So he's been diagnosed in 2018. It does rarely impact his daily ability, but it says that it's managed through lifestyle or exercise. So this is important because he obviously is not managing his high blood pressure currently with medication, as he would have selected that as an option. So it may be something that you want to be extra cautious and aware of when you are doing his assessment. What is his blood pressure? Perhaps you want to take it more than once just to confirm that it is a safe blood pressure, and you want to make sure that you're providing a referral letter to his GP if you have assessed it to be very high, and if you are perhaps unable to complete the more physically demanding aspects of the assessment because it is too high. So this is going to give you a bit more awareness about what aspects of the applicant you want to focus on during the assessment. The next part is about Fred's neck injury. So the injury section is very helpful for you as the assessor as well, just as important as it would be when you notice someone coming in for treatment about a current injury or a previous injury. You want to know as much about it as you can, which you would probably in the assessment previously, if they had written this sort of information, or even if they hadn't written this sort of information, you'd want to be getting it. So it's important that this part of the online report is reviewed by you before the assessment. So as you can see for Fred, this was a work injury and there's no further details as to how this work injury occurred. So that may be a question that you want to ask Fred so that we understand how this injury came about. Time off work, 13 to 26 weeks. You may want to ask Fred further information about the specific amount of time that he had off. The treatment length, so less than 4 weeks. If he's had so much time off work, perhaps his treatment should have lasted longer. So to ask more questions about this treatment would be beneficial for yourselves and us. Did he get physiotherapy treatment? What did he do after that? You'll notice symptoms. He has reported that he still occasionally experiences symptoms. So this is essential to be aware of when you are doing a physical assessment of him and with him and assessing his capabilities. You want to make sure that your assessment's not going to exacerbate any of those symptoms which occasionally occur. You may want to ask further detail about what the symptoms are specifically, what makes them worse and what makes them better, and how does he manage them. So he said by medication. And is this a medication that he's currently taken before the assessment or something that may even show up in his urine drug screen? Thankfully, he's not too worried about a reoccurrence, but his future employer might be. So it's important that we get all this information so that we can make appropriate recommendations for his future employer. So we've just noticed that since the 1st of October, there's been quite a few reported injuries that perhaps haven't been noted by the assessor, and perhaps the online report hasn't been reviewed as closely as it could be. So we just wanted to do this webinar as a reminder about how helpful it is for you and us if you can please review the online report before completing the assessment. That would be fantastic. So there's also been some changes to the reporting form that you have been provided with in order to fill in all of the details that you do during the face-to-face assessment. So you'll notice, because we are doing the online screen, that the first 3 pages of the old form are no longer there, because the online screening does take place of that. So it's good. We're saving some paper. We've also got towards the end here, current medical conditions, current musculoskeletal conditions, and current recommendations of you. So if you can, please refer back to the online report. What have been the reported medical and or musculoskeletal conditions of that applicant, and just write them in there, just so that that reflects that you've had a look at that report and you've considered it throughout the assessment. And perhaps you have recommendations for their ongoing employment, for their employer, or for us that you want to include. So if you could write that in there, that would be great as well. Or perhaps it's for further treatment that the person may benefit from. Also, in addition to this, we have been doing a lot more psychosocial screening of our applicants, but we've noticed sometimes this doesn't actually reflect their mental health and their general health, because sometimes people are not honest when they complete such questions because of the stigma around mental health. So we wanted to give you the opportunity to make comment on any behaviour that you notice that may be out of the normal, or anything that may indicate that they're currently not managing their mental health. So this may be any sign of distress, such as crying, or anything that you have concerns about during the assessment, anything that they mention, or anything that you observe which may indicate that they're actually not managing their mental health. This is just in case their psychosocial screening tools do not reflect how they're actually behaving or being. So if you can complete this, if there are any concerns that you have, that would be fantastic as well. It would just help us make better recommendations for this person upon their employment, if they are to be employed. So thank you everyone for listening. Hopefully I didn't go too fast. I just didn't want to take too much of your time, but you can pause this wherever you need to, go back. That's the beauty of having a recorded webinar. Please get in contact with us. If you've got any further questions, we're happy to answer them at any point in time. Give us a phone call and send us an email as well, that's fine. And we'll try and help you out with these changes, but really appreciate all of your efforts with this new online screening form. And if there's any more changes that affect you in the future, we will be in contact and we will do more of this short recorded webinars so that it's much easier to follow. Thanks very much. Bye.